So how do you run a hairdressing salon? Well, this is a point where it's worth re-looking at some of the videos we've already done when it talks about positioning and setting up your salon and the brand and so on. But you have to ask initial questions about running your hair salon, which is, what kind of hairdressing salon do I want, and do I want to share with those people out there? I know when I was running my hairdressing salon, I wanted it to be exciting. I wanted it to be interesting. I wanted it to be full of change. I wanted us to be cutting edge, just a step ahead. Because I realised at the time there were 35 other salons in the town where I was opening a brand new salon. And some of these guys have been there for 40 years almost. So you have to decide how you want your salon to be run. Do you want it to run the same as everybody else, or do you want it to be a little bit different? If it's the same as everybody else, you're then fighting for the same clients, the same competition. But if you're trying to do something different, you're setting your stall out, you're setting your salon out as something different from the rest of them in the very early days. But here's one of the biggest things we have in running a salon, is hiring staff. Now, this is a long conversation, so I may have to split this video down a few little bits, but it's an essential part of running your hairdressing salon. You see, if you get your staff wrong, your salon will never settle. You will always have people coming and going. You will always have problems. You will always have confrontation. You will always have staff walkouts and so on. So you have to have a procedure for hiring people. And if you don't have a procedure for hiring people, right away, right at the beginning, you will have a problem. Right from the beginning, you'll have a problem. So what is that procedure? Well, one of the advices I will give now is, probably most of your staff are what we call Generation Zers. And Generation Z think very different to how we, the kind of people my age, or the people in the millennials, 40s and 50s and 60s that think. They have a much looser thing, but they do have certain constructs as well. So first of all, you'll have to look and research how Generation Z kids think, feel, their needs and wants, because this will make a huge difference. A huge difference to the type of people that you hire and what you're going to offer them. So when you're initially hiring people, you don't just think to yourself, I need to hire some hairdressers. You need to start thinking about people who can think about their job, people who care about their job. And in these days, stylists who have an actual sense of reality, people who can see things, and people who can deliver the service also. You need to have a good look at who these individuals are. And quite honestly, you have to write a list of what you do and what you do not want. For example, who is it you don't hire? Well, as you know, and as I know in this industry, you know, it's notorious for troublemakers. But the truth is, you get that in every industry. But what it really means by troublemakers, it really means that people who are not doing what you want them to do in your salon. So you may have people who just don't want to take a last appointment. You may have staff who don't want to take a first appointment. You may have staff who want a 2-hour lunch. I once met a stylist who was in a huge confrontation with his boss. And what it was, he wanted 2 hours every lunchtime to meditate by the river. So you have to know who these people are, because it goes beyond the haircuts. The trouble you have with staff is never about hairdressing. It's about what they want and what they need in their life. So you can either deliver what they need and want, and what they need and want is in harmony with how you run your business, or you can't. Because if you can't, it will come into conflict with what you are as a salon owner. So you may just want happy people who can deliver hard work every single day. But you may end up hiring somebody who's miserable, who doesn't like hard work every single day. So you have to look at right from the beginning how you're going to work this. I would always tell salon owners that you have to have some kind of written manifesto. Not necessarily just a manifesto, but you have to have a written agreement of what they will and they won't deliver. So hair salon owners that don't like doing this as a whole, but if you do it, it will do a couple of things. One, it'll help you to hire the right people. And two, it will stop the wrong people coming into your business. Because there's nothing worse than going through that process of hiring, firing. And quite honestly, if you want to know how to run a hairdressing salon, you have to have the right people. So you'll always get hairdressers in your salon that you know already who will do certain things that you don't like. Sometimes they will rally all the other staff against you as a salon owner. Sometimes they will be those gossip types downstairs who only want to do half a column for half a week. And they expect all the other staff to do exactly the same, which causes you problems. And so on and so on and so forth. You've got to be very, very careful with these people right from the beginning. So discipline is one of the keys. And actually, Generation Z love discipline. They love to know the rules and they love to know where they stand. But quite honestly, people have always liked that. So do you have a written set of rules before people start, or that you can enforce right now? Of course, the way you enforce it as a leader will make a difference to how you run your hairdressing salon. But the fact is, discipline works. If it's written down on a piece of paper or a contract or a manifesto that you have to take your first client at 9 o'clock, you have to take your last client at such and such a time, you're expected to deliver at least 5 clients a day, which is 25 to 30 clients a week. You have to have an average bill of XYZ. You have to do a percentage of colour every single week, and so on and so on and so forth. If you have that written down in the contract, you can always go back to the stylist and say, well, this was written in the contract. Because if they're not delivering what you need as a business, you let them go. So hairdressers traditionally are a little bit nervous and a little bit scared of being strong leaders with their stylists. I've seen this so many times in different salons where the stylists are almost ruling how the salon is run. But you as a salon owner, if you want to know how to run a hairdressing business, you have to be able to take control of that particular aspect. So let's take one step back. This all goes back to the interview. Unless you actually know exactly what you want for your salon, not just from them, because you already know you want them to do great hairdressing, but you have to know what you want from your salon. So the contract on how to run your salon business goes all the way back to these rules that are set down, where this discipline is fixed and this discipline is set, and this has to be taken into account on the very first interview. So let's follow this one up with another video, because that first bit is actually quite long. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment or ask a question underneath.